a delay here. Well, hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Monday in the Riv, and we got a ton of stuff to talk about. And the weekend flush was right on target again. And I guess we started with Paul and the crime issues, and we can touch on that again because obviously there are, they remain. Actually, a Fall River man was involved in a standoff in Dartmouth, so I guess we can be thankful he chose Dartmouth this time rather than Fall River. But again, he's ultimately going to probably come back to where he lives and again do the issue. And we can't, I know you hit it pretty good in the flush. And listen, I don't want to hear this stuff. I mean, it's just absurd that the people are too dumb to understand that if you say some of them were shoplifting and some of them were violent crime, there's a difference. But in reality, if you condone any kind of crime, you are emboldening the criminals because we've seen it all over the country. We've seen what's happened now with the shoplifting in Philly and all over the place, and the rampant crime we have because you just can't do it. And as I said, yeah, I'm going to remind some people that at one time they used to actually have the police log in the Fall River Herald News, and they didn't just say we had 45 crimes. They put down the crimes and they broke them down, and they've done that for years at neighborhood associations. Said we had so many break-ins, so many this, so many that. I mean, listen, the people deserve to know. I mean, these are the people you're supposed to be working for. So you're going to say, I think that was an extremely condescending statement that, people are going to be confused. Like, we don't know the difference between a shooting and shoplifting. But shoplifting is still a crime, and it actually hurts businesses tremendously because we've seen that it's destroyed businesses throughout this country. We can't have criminals running around and doing this stuff. So, with that, and I know you did a really good job on it, so I encourage anybody who didn't read the flush, and I know you're getting a lot of new subscribers. Uh, so, this just turn it back to you.
Well, yeah, we are getting a lot of new subscribers, and I'm also getting feedback because when you get the flush, if you got any comments, you can click on reply, and I get those comments directly back to me, which is a great thing. Um, Josh S. Turned around and sent me a message from the weekend flush, and he said that he can attest to the fact that the state police are patrolling the city because when he was coming out of his house, they were checking him out up and down to see what he was doing and where he was going. So obviously, even those that aren't criminals are getting uh, intimidated a little bit by police presence, and that's fine by me because if you're not a criminal and you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about. So it makes it very interesting. Uh, in the weekend flush, I also briefly touched on the fact that we went to Richard Urban's memoriam yesterday, and it was very well done. It was very well done and very well attended. Very, very well attended. I was surprised. A lot of them are his friends from all the work he did in the city and with the seniors and whatnot. And there were some politicians there. I saw Linda Pereira. I saw Paul Coogan. Um, and they were getting, they didn't make it a political event. They just were sitting there. They were quiet. They didn't make it a political event at all because it wasn't a political event. And the VFW did a marvelous job with the uh, memorials that they were giving him. And then they got the audience involved in putting on the red poppies that I usually see on a holiday weekend when they give those out for donations. But I'm still touched a little bit because I hate um, the fact that we've lost Richard, and I believe next weekend, this upcoming weekend, would have been the weekend that he did the Pulaski Monument um, ceremony, which he did very well all the time. So it's a tough thing. I didn't know how we were going to talk to the people from FRC Media. They were civil. We were civil. I mean, it was just civil, and we were friendly with one of the women from FRC Media, and she does a lot of freelancing for them, and she freelances for other areas. Um, so it's interesting. Amy Blanchett says he also did the one on Shove Street. I believe he's done all of them. I believe he's done all of them because he's the one that set them up, and he always had time or made time to make it happen. And he would always get on the phone and call people and ask them to come out and help out. He was a great guy, and he's going to be greatly missed.
Well, you're right. It was a very, very well done. I actually thanked the guys from the at the end. I went over and complimented them on they did a really, really nice job. But you know, Richard will be sorely missed. He did a whole bunch of things, and that's the great thing about the great thing about Nelson. Oh, Nelson's in. But he did things without fanfare, without looking for, he wasn't he wasn't looking for a photo op because he was running for public office, and he did it because he cared about Fall River. And I thought it was really telling when his daughter got up and said she really didn't like Fall River and she moved out. Uh, but then and he never wanted to move, and then she realized why he loved Fall River because he really loved the city, and I think that tells a lot. This is why we have to get people and make Fall River highlight the people like Richard who are not politicians. Our politicians continue to fail us, and this is why we have to rise up and vote against them because Richard. I mean, I think I can't even count all the things that Richard did, especially with the veterans and stuff, and everything else he did. And he was a great guy. It's a tremendous loss to the community. And as I said, the thing about him was I know he did run for public office at one time, but he didn't run for public office ever again. But he still continued to be intimately involved in the city of Fall River, and it was a great thing. And he will be sorely missed. And it was a wonderful memorial service with the playing of taps and the releasing of the doves, and it was very, very well done. And with that, we'll segue into again how the politicians continue to amaze us because Paul Coogan is again trying to shove the armory back in front of the council and hoping he's going to get his bobbleheads to turn this over to the developer. So it shows how disingenuous and hypocritical they are. Because he went in front of council and fundamentally threatened them. If you don't do something right now, I'm out of here. No, you're not. You want that property and you want it for a song. Just like they all do. And so he's pushing it down again. And those people that voted, as you said in your flush again, the flush hit them about the people who talk out of both sides of their mouth and don't want to hear what the people of Fall River want. The people of Fall River want to keep the armory. They want to keep the armory. They want to make it a gathering place. They want to make it a place that symbolizes the community that we once had in the city of Fall River. Regardless of what we use it for, because we all have memories of the Armory. I played basketball in the National Guard Basketball League with a whole bunch of people. And I believe Mike Herron and Chris Herron played down there. Durfee played down there for a little while when they were getting a new court. And I mean, it means a lot to this community, and it's located down in the central area of the city. It would be an important place, and it was an important place. And to just give it to another developer for what? We don't have enough market rate housing? Of course we do. We're pushing people out in the street at a record number. But no, never take no for an answer. Paulie has got to take care of his developers. And you hit that again. So anybody that didn't read the Weekend Flush, read it. Good work. Back to you.
What's very interesting is, as Jeff Gaudreau said a little while ago, he said that Paul said he would never pressure the city council. Well, to me, it seems like he's trying to pressure the city council. You're lost. It's done. It's over with. That's it. And I'm tired of hearing from the mayor's office through Seth Akins, we cannot afford to maintain this building. It's not that you can't afford to maintain it, it's that you don't want to maintain it. There's a big difference. Also, you can't say we can't afford to repair the building because you've got ARPA funds that you can use. You've got CPA money that's already been used on the building. And there are historical grants available from the state. So don't tell me that we can't find the money. If we want to find the money, we can find it. You've got to have the willingness to find that. The problem is, Paul, you're not willing. And we know this. And it's sad. It's sad that you're willing to destroy a piece of Fall River history. And, that the people want. When the people speak, the politicians are supposed to give them what they want. I don't hear the people speaking for more market rate housing. I don't hear them saying that. I hear them saying they want the Bank Street Armory to be an event center or a meeting place or a CD rec place or something along that line, a recreation center, something that they want for the neighborhoods, something they want for the community, something they want for Fall River. The veterans can do it. And on the upkeep of the building, once we do the repairs, I'm sure that there'll be a lot of volunteers at that building that can do handiwork, that can do carpentry, that can do electrical work, that can do plumbing. I'm sure there'll be a lot of those people available, and I'm sure that they wouldn't mind giving a little bit of time, especially if they're utilizing the building. People do what they can, especially when they're asked. And right now, we need to ask the mayor, get off your backside, take some money out of ARPA, put it into the Bank Street Armory, and that's it.
Well, listen, CJ, you're right. There are a lot of people that would pitch in, including, us but there's a bigger issue here that everybody kind of just passes over. The guy that lives God knows where, that doesn't know anything about Fall River, that loves to pontificate about Fall River. How about the fact that we can't maintain any building? We can't maintain the Armory. We couldn't maintain the old Durfee. We can't maintain every building the city sells. Yet, we have a city ordinance that says that the Department of Community Maintenance is responsible for the maintenance of every building. The school department has their own maintenance. They're all getting paid. They're all drawing a paycheck. And there's a guy in charge making a lot of money. Kenny Pacheco's making a lot of money. And DCM's got a big payroll. School department's got a big payroll for maintenance. Yet, think about it. Virtually every single building we've sold in the city of Fall River to somebody for virtually nothing, the reason was it's fallen into disrepair. Why? Why? Because nobody maintains them. Why doesn't the city council say that? Because they don't care. because they're politicians. That's why they got to go. These people don't care. They do not care about maintenance. And keep saying we can't maintain it. Why can't we maintain it? We got an electrical inspector. We got a plumbing inspector. We got a building inspector. You can't do regular inspections of these buildings to make sure that they're being maintained. And if there's a problem, fix it while it's a minor problem. Oh, you could do that. But then actually you would be doing your job. So I don't want to hear that crap from Akins, who doesn't live here and doesn't know anything about the city of Fall River. I don't even know if he ever saw the old Durfee. I'm almost sure he didn't, because he didn't drive by it on his way to court, because he doesn't live anywhere near here. So these people, it's always the same. We can't maintain it. Why can't we maintain it? Why can't we fix it and keep it fixed? Because people are getting paid, and they've been getting paid for a very, very long time. Remember the pictures of the old Durfee with a waterfall coming down and ceilings falling down, and nobody could figure that out, that there was a problem in that building? They let it get to the point where it's at critical mass in the building, but they just got to get it. Well, bulldoze it. Sell it to a developer for nothing. Isn't it amazing that a private entity can figure out how to get that building renovated and fixed, but we can't? That doesn't make any sense. And if bullshit was bricks, they could build a chimney to the moon and have bricks left over. Okay? This is all a con. It's an excuse. They just want to, Paulie wants to give it to one of his developer friends, so they can make money and we can pay the tab. They'll give him a tip. They'll give him more money. The taxpayer will foot most of the bill for this guy. And he'll make his millions and go back to wherever he came from. And this is what really aggravates me. When they try to urinate on your head and convince you it's raining. I've seen the buildings in Fall River. We've seen the whole thing. How many times have we seen buildings in total disrepair? Isn't it amazing that we got fire stations over 100 years old that is still work, that you can still go into? 100 years old, Stanley Street. Go up there. Why? Because the fire department has annual spring cleaning. If there's an electrical problem, they make sure it's fixed because they're living in there when they're on duty. Isn't it amazing that we've actually got buildings that were built in the 1800s that are still habitable because somebody was paying attention? That's not some epiphany somebody had. The reality is, we can maintain buildings, but we won't. Because when the people are not telling you to maintain them, and you tell those counselors, maintain it, and the next time a building falls into disrepair, get everybody that was in charge of maintenance in that building and fire them. Because it takes years for these buildings to get into the condition they're in now. Decades for them to get this way. And we've proven it. Stanley Street, built in the 1800s. North Main Street Station is still being utilized. They still got the hayloft up there when they had horse-drawn fire apparatus. Don't say it can't be done. You're just looking for an excuse to farm it out so your friends can make money off it. So, all right, CJ, back to you.
You know, the sad thing is nobody will ever get fired for not taking care of the buildings. And as far as the city's concerned, or the politicians are concerned, it's cheaper to build a new building than it is to repair the old ones. And because they can't get money to repair the old ones. That's their argument all the time. Well, you know, if we make repairs to the building, we won't get any money from MSBA. But If we build a whole new building, we'll get 51% of the money back. We'll get 76% of the money back. We'll get 86% of the money back. I don't care about that. Okay? I really don't care about that. What I care about is maintaining what we have. We just built a $300,000+ school on Ellsbury Street, which has nothing but traffic issues. And we have something to look forward to in about 2 decades when the building's falling apart because nothing was maintained. And already we've seen just from it being open, there were leaks in the roof already. There was some plumbing issues. And well, that's covered under the warranty, the 1-year guarantee or the 1-year warranty that the contractor put in. It doesn't matter. It should have never happened in the first place because that's indicative of a problem. And if you want to use people who provide subpar work, you need to look carefully at what's being provided to the city for their money. It's that simple.
Well, CJ, it's amazing how these people look at things when the taxpayer is paying the bill. Because that is exactly what they say. Oh, we'll get 51% or we'll get 70-some%. Well, guess what? Put yourself as a taxpayer in their position and see how ridiculous that position is. So what you're telling me is, if we spent $50,000 for that roof, it's better for the city than us getting a $100 million debt somewhere to build another building. $300,000, $300 million, or whatever the hell it was. But you look at it, 49% of something that's 10 times the cost is not a deal. That's like me saying, well, I got to spend $10,000 getting a new roof, and say, well, you know something? I just bulldoze my house because somebody's going to give me 51% of the new house, and it's going to cost me $400,000 to build a new house, or $500,000. Last time I checked, $250,000, which is about 50% of $500,000, is a hell of a lot more than $15,000. The council has got, the council just doesn't care. They can't do any critical thinking or think logically. And that's the con they use. Oh, we're going to get 76% from the state. You're not getting 76%. What the hell you think the state's paying you with? Your tax money. And you're paying more. Now we got a debt that we're going to be paying for years because they didn't maintain a school. I mean, it makes no sense. It only happens in government where you get rewarded for inaction and incompetency. It's like if you were in business, would you have to hire 6 people to run your financial office when you had somebody that was supposed to be able to do it themselves? Would you have to now get a financial analyst and have Aya Capone and all these other? No. You know what they say? Fire her. Get somebody here who can actually do it. You had Mary Sahadi. She didn't have all this help. She didn't need it because she actually knew what she was doing. So, the reality is, and she fudged numbers, but she knew the numbers. These people are clueless. This whole thing is absurd. It makes no sense when you look at it objectively. It makes absolutely no sense. And I'll tell you what else doesn't make sense, and I got to quickly segue into this, because when I heard about this, and I want your comment on this, we all know that Laura Washington was always complaining about having her name that started with a W, and she was going to be at the bottom of the ticket like it was some kind of penalty, and that's the reason that people don't vote for her. It's not true. And Danny Robillard, the true champion of the people on the Charter Commission, the original Charter Commission, and on this one too, I guess he really took her to task with that at this new committee, which she's on, when he said, Bill Whitty's name started with a W. He topped the ticket numerous times. Kathy Ann Vivera's V is fairly low in the alphabet. She topped the ticket numerous times. Michelle Dion finished ahead of you, and she was 17th in the lottery system, so people actually looked for her name. And she ended up in the top. But now I've heard that WSAR is going to have candidates on to present their positions, and they're going to do it by alphabetical order. Yeah, we all know she's got some pretty good friends over at that station. Isn't it amazing that we're not hearing her demand a lottery? Because guess who's going to be the last person to speak about their candidacy before the election? Somebody whose name starts with a W. So I just wanted to, before I turn that back over to you, and back over to you, CJ.
That's interesting. The whole lottery system came about because many candidates felt that their name being lower on the ballot meant they were less likely to be elected. Possibly, I don't know. I've never seen that actually happen because I've seen Linda Pereira. She's topped the ballot a few times, and she's pretty far. She's always was pretty far down the ballot. People look for who they want, and granted, I don't really support a lot of their votes, but it's the people's vote, so you don't have a choice in the matter. You want to elect an idiot, then you elect an idiot. You want to elect somebody that doesn't represent you, elect somebody who doesn't represent you. My personal opinion is I elect the people, or I cast a ballot for the people that represent me, the ones that I can talk to. And I think that's a great thing. So, I'm even looking now at candidates who are either giving or receiving endorsements. And I'll tell you right now, endorsements do not win elections. Signs do not cast ballots. They don't win elections. Okay? Shoe leather wins elections. That means walk the neighborhoods, knock on the doors, meet the people, ask them for their vote. That gets you to win an election. People need to know who you are and what you stand for. They want to know your plan. They don't want to hear what you've done. They don't want to hear where you've been. They want to know where you're going to take them and how much it's going to cost them or save them. Because people want to know what they're going to get from electing you to office. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, you're right, CJ. And that ballot position means nothing. I don't go in there and go in there. I would have found Michelle's name no matter where it was, because I believe she is the only person that consistently fights for the people. And like I said, Bill Whitty topped the ticket numerous times. He was perennial. President of the council, Kathy Ann Vivera's, the top of the ticket. Linda Pereira's topped the ticket. P is, midstream in the alphabet. But I want to just touch on another thing here, because we had Paulie saying the delay of MBTA was a hit. It's just a hiccup. It's not coming. Well, no, it wasn't. According to you, that was the panacea. You were going to cut the ribbon this year, and they were going to come flying down and change the entire complexion of the city. But listen, the MBTA is a disaster. The only people that don't know that is the people in Southeast, although maybe Fall River, because I know that the Mayor Mitchell is having all kinds of problems suing them about the cost of land and other things like that, and they're having problems. But look, the Green Line just put in a whole bunch of new tracks, and guess what? It's already down. They're already looking at it. The MBTA is the second biggest public disaster that Massachusetts has ever seen. The Big Dig was arguably the biggest public project disaster in the history of the United States.
Even
but the MBTA is a close second, and it's not coming for a year. if it comes at all, because then they're going to have ridership problems. The MBTA is sinking, and if you watch Boston stations, you will see a constant stream of information about the MBTA and all its problems. Things that you never see down here because it's suppressed just like the crime statistics. So I had to get that one in. So
Well, you're very accurate there, and people are coming out and making comments. And this is about Laura Washington. She's a whiner. She's an ineffective counselor for the people and a very effective counselor for Mayor Coogan. And that's what I said. These people get elected and they don't represent the people; they represent the administration. It's got to stop. On Wednesday, we're supposedly going to have a city council candidate guest, Jordan James Sylvia. Will should be an interesting show, that's for sure. So I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. It's been great being with you. Have a great day, and I'll see you on Wednesday.